For this lesson, we're going to draw ourselves in the style of Tim Burton's art. You should see on the slides that there is a template for you to be able to draw your self-portrait. Pick the parts that you think look most like your features of your face and start to draw them on your gray piece of paper. Tim Burton is known for his really skinny necks and big eyeballs on his self-portraits. So make sure that you draw as much like his drawings as possible. In order to make it look really creepy like Tim Burton's drawings, try and follow his steps, but make it look as much like you as you possibly can. Right now, I am just sketching the outline of my portrait. I'll go back through with a white colored pencil and a black colored pencil and add some shading and highlights. You can also use a black crayon or a black crayon or a white crayon. Right now I'm just figuring out the features that I want to be on mine. Looking at the templates and kind of figuring out what things look most like my face that Tim Burton's style represents. After I get done sketching, I take the pencil and I start kind of figuring out where I want my shadows and lines and sketchiness to come from. If you look at Tim Burton's work, it is very sketchy and you can see a lot of his grainy lines in his drawings. So if you make a mistake, you might want to leave it. It might add character to your drawing. Right now, I'm done kind of getting the basics of my self-portrait done. So I'm going to start adding some highlights and some shadows. And the white is going to be my highlights and the black is going to be my shadows or outlines. Make sure you darken every pencil line with the black to make your drawing more dramatic and have more of an effect on your picture. Now I'm starting to shade in some of the darker areas. Since my hair is really dark, I made sure and colored in a lot of my hair darker than my skin color because I wanted my hair to appear like I had dark hair in real life. And then I just kind of left it really streaky. I did not try and make it smooth and blend it in. I wanted all of those sketchy, stitchy looking lines to be all over my drawing. Wherever the light doesn't touch, like underneath my chin, underneath my head where my hair overlaps my head, I made sure and added extra shadow. Right now, I'm adding shadow underneath my eyes. I'm adding shadows around my face, under my lips, where everything overlaps on my skin, that's where I'm adding shadow. I added a little too much and I erased it. You are able to erase if you don't draw too heavily with your colored pencil if you use an eraser on top of it. It doesn't always work if you draw really heavily, but sometimes you can get it to come off. I signed my name, but then I went through and I added some extra things in the background. I added some dramatic lines or spider webs in the corners of my picture, and I added some shadows by shading with the side of my pencil. So I just kind of scratched and scribbled in each of the corners to make it look like an old photo. And then I took some white and kind of added some highlights as well. And then I looked at the picture frames and I picked my favorite picture frame. I like the one that's all awkward and position funky. So I decided to cut my black piece of construction paper in the shape of that frame. So I drew it the best I could with my picture on the black paper. And when I cut it out, I didn't worry about it being perfect because Tim Burton's stuff is really choppy and messy, so it didn't have to be exactly right. I then took and cut my drawing because it just looked too perfect. It didn't need to be a perfect rectangle. I wanted it to be jaggedy and different, just like the picture frame. So I cut off a few edges to make it wonky. Then I glued it down onto my picture frame. But that wasn't enough. I needed to add some more details to the picture frame, so I made some old-fashioned swirls and squiggles and lines on the outside. And here's my finished self-portrait in the style of Tim Burton. I can't wait to see your self-portraits.